Hi everyone, let's go over my low time frame and micro bullish and bearish Elliott Wave scenarios on Bitcoin. Starting with the low time frame bullish scenario, where we're still expecting a move towards the upside in a WXY, where the most common target for wave Y is between the 1 and the 1.236, which is between 27.4k and 28k. And around 27.4k, we also have that double top for some liquidity, which is very interesting. And just above the 1.236, we have a resistance box over here between 28k and 28.1k. Now the reason this can be a WXY starting off with a three-wave structure over here is because on some exchanges this low has been taken, and that means that a 5-3-5 wave move is invalidated, which then also means that this has to be a three-wave structure in this scenario, then following a 3, and then another 3 towards the upside. However, a wave Y can have many different patterns. It can be a zigzag, it can be a triangle, it can be an expanding flat preferably. Those are the three that you like to see or see most often, which also means that on the Coinbase chart, the chart that I have, because over here you can see this low has not yet taken this low, but if this turns into an expanding flat, then price will take this low. And what I think is very interesting about an expanding flat scenario is that if price is going to move to the upside, potentially hitting this blue target box over here and then a three-wave structure, right? And that target box is sitting between 26.4k and 26.5k for some resistance, for then potentially a move towards the downside in a three-wave structure. So then we have a wave A, a wave B, and then you get a wave C. And what's interesting here is that the yellow target box, many people are talking about this area. So there's a lot of like buyers in this area, most likely. And then you get a 5-wave move to the upside, because a wave C in an expanding flat is an impulsive structure, which is a 5-wave move. And because this is a 5-wave move and other people will see this is an impulsive structure, they might think that a lot higher prices is on the cards. However, because then in this scenario, this is an ABC, which means this is a wave C and it ends a structure, it will then reverse to the downside for lower prices, basically baiting all the people that bought over here, triggering the stop losses for then more downside to go, where we still have a blue target box over here, which is sitting between 22.6k and 21.8k. So this is definitely a scenario I keep my eye on, also because if we look at the lower time frames, this over here at the moment, the price action that we have looks very corrective. It doesn't really look impulsive, right? We don't really see a very clear, nice 5-wave count to the upside, volume increasing, all that stuff. It's very horizontal, very rangy. Of course, we can still find a little bit more upside, as I'll show you on the micro time frame to this area over here. But this can be a three-wave structure like this, of course, as well. We have to wait and see what price is going to do over here and how it then potentially comes down, because we don't know. Or if it can also be something like this, which I think is very interesting indeed, especially with the news tomorrow. The more bearish scenario is actually like that this is then a wave A. That is an expanding flat, but this is an expanding flat on a higher time frame. So over here, the expanding flat, wave X is already in. So we have a WXY, wave X is finished, and then in wave Y, it's going to be an A, B, C expanding flat. So that is then the wave Y pattern. But in the more bearish scenario, or the one that I have over here, which is just a different scenario really, this is still a three-wave structure in a wave A, but then this is an unfinished three-wave structure. So we are still in this move to the downside, which is then a wave B. So this is then a W currently working on wave X, and then you get another wave Y to the downside, or X might already be in. I'll show you on the lower time frame on the micro in a second. But then eventually after wave X is in, you expect a wave Y to the downside, and then the most common target area for a wave B in an expanding flat is between the 1.236 and the 1.38, which is between 25k and 24.6k, and this area is pulled from the low to the high of wave A. Now you see a couple of flip times on my chart. That is comparing wave W with wave X at the moment, and this high over here for potentially the high of wave X, right? So this can be a W over here, 3-wave W, then you have a 3-wave X. It's quite short because this wave X is shorter than 38% of the time it took to develop wave W. So this wave X is much shorter than wave W, and I always prefer waves to at least go past or finish past the 382 of the previous wave. So it would be nicer for wave X from an Elliott wave perspective that there's still another high to come, which I think again this area is very interesting. If price is going to go through this area, the next area of interest is going to be the double top that we have have over here at 26.8k in my opinion, for then eventually a move to the downside in wave Y. So basically both of the scenarios, they don't really differ too much. We're still like looking for potentially a wave X. It's just that over here, this is the A, B, and then a wave C. And on the other time frame, this is the wave A, B, and then a wave C. The only difference is the target area of wave B. In this scenario, the target area of wave B is down here. So actually on the yellow target box, while if we go to this scenario, imagine wave X is still going to be made around the blue target box, then you can see that the wave B expanding flat target, which is the 1.236, 1.38 most commonly, is now above the yellow target area. Now the 1.618 is a rare target for an expanding flat wave B, which is in the yellow box, but at least it's something to keep in mind that in this scenario, the most common target area for wave B expanding flat is above the yellow target box. And if we then go to the micro time frame, then the micro has actually been quite complex, especially because of price just ranging sideways for a very long time. So it wasn't easy to count this. And actually in my previous video, I was talking about preferred and alternative scenarios on the low time frame count where, you know, I said preferred upside. But the moment I mentioned that and the moment I posted the video, I was like, nah, I'm not feeling that actually. And that's what I wrote in the Discord group as well, as I keep everyone up to date. I said it is quite tricky at the moment. I talk about preferred and alternative scenarios in that video earlier today, but actually my feelings are quite neutral. And the low time frame bearish scenario where price actually going to the downside is very interesting as well, because price is still ranging in three-wave structures and not in an impulsive structure. Over here, this looks like, over here, for example, a three-wave structure and then an A, B, C. It's not an impulsive structure. So actually more upside, I was like, nah, I'm not feeling good. But of course, the video was already online, so excuse me. But actually looking for downside might be interesting as well. Now, in this scenario, this is a micro bullish and bearish scenario. And bullish means then the WXY scenario, where we already have a finished structure and then a wave W, which is an ABC, where the one-to-one has been hit, which is nice. And then we have a wave X to the downside. And as this can be a three-wave structure to the downside, with then X finishing over here. But the problem that I have with that is this is not a clean zigzag structure. So if I pull a trend-based fib extension from the high to this low to then this high, you can see that the one-to-one has not been hit. And it also doesn't look like a 3-3-3 structure, which is a WXY. And for a wave Y, the 0.618 is a target. Now, of course, it's been hit, but it doesn't look like a WXY structure. So then I eventually, after the video, started messing around over here. And I was like, wait, this can be an A. They have an expanding flat ABC, followed then by a wave C. And that actually works very nicely, because if this is a wave A to the downside or a wave 1, and you get a fib trend or just a normal Fibonacci from the low to the high, then you can see we bounce inside the most common target area for a wave B, the 1.236 and 1.38. And that is very nice. And then what you want to see in a wave C is a move towards the upside where it takes the high of wave A and then an A, B, C. And locally, price also started to create some bearish divergences over here. And on the 5-minute, that's what you can see. So price moved to the downside, back to the upside, creating bearish divergences here on the blue line. And that was actually quite funny, because I literally drew this out in Discord in the update channel where I said, hey, price moving to the downside up, then potentially creating bearish divergences. Now I took the yellow line, but eventually it was the blue line. But that played out very, very nicely indeed for then a move towards the downside, which can then potentially be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then looking for a 5 down. In this either being an A, B, and then a wave C, for then a reversal for wave Y to the upside, and then a WXY, where we then have that blue target box spoken about around 26.4k. Or this is already the wave X as mentioned on the lower time frames, and we're now going and move towards the downside. Now, preferably, if this is the high of wave X, it's very, very short. So preferably, I'd like to see another move up and reach this area. But of course, we don't know what we're going to get. Now, finally, we have the news coming as well. This week is a very, very news heavy week. All the red flags that you see are very important and probably volatile moments on the chart. So make sure you keep track of this website of the news. The first red flags, high volatility news items are going to be tomorrow, Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. Central East European time. So make sure that whatever you do, you trade safe around those hours. I hope this video was helpful or valuable to you. Please check out the most recent educational video I've made about the best trading indicator you can use in my opinion. And for now, thanks for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye bye.